2020 has been a wild year for a lot of reasons.
We turn next to the fire catastrophe in Australia.
The World Health Organization on Friday urged governments around the world to unleash their full power to contain the outbreak of COVID-19.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, an invasive and potentially deadly hornet has been found in the U.S. for the very first time.
Okay, let's be real. 2020 has been absolute insanity. As if to contribute to all of this unbelievability more, Valve has swooped in to give us a brand new Half-Life game, Half-Life Alyx. Now that the game's out, the secret is out too. Half-Life is back for real, and Half-Life Alyx is a lot more than just a prequel to the HL2 series. By the time you're watching this, that much is obvious. For those who watched my previous video theorizing about HL Alyx, it came true. Miraculously, the theory ended up being correct. Always a pleasant surprise that, but it now leaves us all scratching our heads at everything that could be coming next. Today, I'm here to discuss the ending of HL Alyx. More specifically, because this is VGTI, I'm here to theorize about what it could all mean. For those who don't want the ending of the game spoiled, now's your chance to hop off. I will admit something before we begin. I wasn't able to play HL Alyx myself. With the circumstances being what they are right now, I've had to spend carefully, and that means no going out and buying a VR headset to play HL Alyx. Never fear though, because the internet has me covered, as always. I watched through playthroughs of the game to gather all of the important details I needed. Luckily, a lot of those details come into play at the end of the game. First off, let's recap the ending. Alyx and Eli end up discovering the Combine have something contained in a massive structure called the Vault. Rumor is whatever's inside is referred to as a survivor of the Black Mesa incident. Hearing this, Alyx and Eli naturally assume it to be Gordon Freeman. In a daring rescue attempt, Alyx breaks into the vault, only to discover its contents, the G-Man.
See, I pulled a sneaky on you.
The G-Man skips introductions fairly quickly, telling Alyx that he can't tell her what he is. He instead reveals to her that his employers allow him to nudge events in a certain direction, kind of like a genie with strings attached. Alyx understandably asks him to destroy the Combine. This is apparently too much for his employers to do, so G-Man instead gives Alyx a glimpse of the future. More specifically, the ending of Half-Life 2 Episode 2. She is shocked to see herself crying over her dead dad's corpse. G-Man reveals to her that she can simply stop the death from happening, and allows her to do so, ultimately changing fate and the events of Episode 2. This now puts her under the G-Man's contract, however, so he proceeds to plop her into stasis Gordon Freeman style to await her next assignment. Following the credits, players now look through Gordon's eyes with a very much alive Eli Vance at the end of Episode 2, pissed as hell about what G-Man has done to Alyx. Handing Gordon a crowbar, the two prepare to rescue her.
Oh, that was a little mean.
Can I just say, what an ending, am I right? How insane is all of that? But more insane is what it all means. Here's my theory, based on what all happened. Half-Life Alyx serves as Valve's chance to wipe the slate clean for the Half-Life series. Think back to how things have been since the release of Episode 2. Years upon years of silence, a shuffling of the team, critical writers leaving the staff, Valve's bizarre lack of comment on any of it. The weight of expectations behind Half-Life 3 are gargantuan, built larger and larger with each passing year. How in the world could anyone match those expectations successfully after over a decade has passed? The answer, surprisingly, came in the form of Valve's very own mind-bending character, the G-Man. As with all things in Half-Life, it all comes back to the G-Man, an entity that can alter the course of reality itself. What better way to wipe the slate than that? For context, here's what I've presented so far, theory-wise, in my other Half-Life videos. My very first one theorizes that G-Man and his employers are the physical manifestation of destiny, the very concept of fate itself. Being this, they can see every different branching timeline there is for every decision. Amazingly enough, Half-Life Alyx's ending also proved this part of my theory correct. G-Man and his employers cannot alter events themselves, but they can do it through the use of other people by forming contracts with them. Once formed, G-Man can get them to do small things in accordance with their plan to nudge things in a different direction, as he puts it, aka nudge reality into a different timeline.
Some believe the fate of our worlds is inflexible. My employers disagree. They authorize me to nudge things in a particular direction from time to time.
I further theorized that his employers are aiming to put a stop to the Combine after the latter wronged the former, and are trying to choose the best path to do so. At first, this path involved Gordon. Following the Vortigaunt's interference during the opening of Episode 1, Gordon's contract became null and void, now outside of G-Man's control. From this point onward, he took a renewed interest in Alyx Vance. In order to stop the Combine, Alyx Vance ended up being the new key, which was my theory in this video. And now, that brings us to HL Alyx. So far, all of the theories are supported by this ending. What the ending does reveal, however, is that the G-Man can go back in time. This wasn't quite clear originally, as it seemed more like he was just proceeding parallel with events in reality. Considering what he is, however, it makes perfect sense that he could go back in time, even if he can't travel forward in it. If he could, the Combine wouldn't even be a problem. This is all revealed by G-Man's own words during the ending, in which he implies that Gordon Freeman's contract is pointless to pursue after the Vorts broke his control over him. Basically, this isn't G-Man as he existed before the events of HL2, this is G-Man after the events of episodes 1 and 2.
You are aware that you've proven yourself to be of extraordinary value. A previous hire has been unable or unwilling to perform the tasks laid before him. We have struggled to find a suitable replacement until now.
Following the Vort's interference in Episode 1, G-Man had to come up with a new plan to take down the Combine. This plan, as we now know, involved Alyx Vance. Before HL Alyx released, it was assumed this plan was contingent on Eli dying in Episode 2, which would lead into the plot of Half-Life 3. Instead, G-Man was like, wait, let's back up and just change it all, time traveling to the past, before Gordon Freeman awoke from his stasis. After time traveling, G-Man set himself up as intriguing bait for the Combine to capture, and he knew they would go for it. He also knew that Alyx would attempt a rescue after realizing the thing the Combine were holding was someone from the Black Mesa incident. This would be a direct and easy way to get in touch with her, to make her take the bait just as the Combine did. Once she reached him, the rest was simple. Show her what's going to happen in this timeline if she doesn't change it, provide her the opportunity to change it by forming a contract with him, and bing bang boom, Alyx single-handedly changes the timeline and erases the ending of Episode 2 as we knew it. This is genius, not only from a narrative standpoint, but from Valve's standpoint. Going back to what I said about them wiping the slate clean, this ending is effectively doing just that, erasing the ending of Episode 2 and giving us a completely new one. One where Eli is alive and Alyx is now the pawn of G-Man, waiting in stasis just as Gordon once did. No longer does Valve have to make a follow-up to a 13-year-long cliffhanger. Now, Valve is free to make a proper Half-Life 3 with an entirely new, fresh plot, one that doesn't have years' worth of expectation tackled onto it. It's crazy, but it works, and it also confirms a couple of things. One, the events described in Mark Laidlaw's Episode 3 fanfic will not be the plot of Half-Life 3. 2, Half-Life 3 will be a thing, and Valve will put it out exclusively in VR. They've been pretty candid about how interested they are to work on Half-Life again, and doubly so about VR technology. Half-Life Alyx was a game made for the express purpose of playing in VR, and as I said in my last video, it provides a bold new future for the Half-Life series, a way to immerse yourself in ways not possible with a mouse and keyboard, and also a way to spark renewed interest in VR going forward. The ending all but confirms that Half-Life 3 will come around, and this time we hopefully won't have to wait for 13 more years. Half-Life Alyx is a prequel, to be sure, but it also ended up being a surprise sequel, and exactly what Half-Life needed after years and years of stagnation. Valve took one of their most mysterious characters and used his in-universe powers as a way to make a meaningful change. And rest assured, even during the post-credits scene, G-Man can be spotted watching Gordon and Eli from a distance, likely hella smug, seeing reality altered just the way he planned. The future of Half-Life is dead ahead, and where it goes, nobody knows. Well, except maybe the G-Man. One thing is for sure though, the Half-Life theories will keep on going. Half-Life Alyx opens up all sorts of room for speculation, and with Valve set to continue things, I'm happier than ever to keep making videos about one of my favorite video games of all time. Kudos to Valve for all of this, and kudos to you guys for sticking around and watching my content. What do you guys think of all this? What are your thoughts on the events of Half-Life Alyx? Let me know in the comments below. For those who didn't see my channel post, life has been crazy lately. This is why I haven't uploaded since my top 5 2019 video. Don't worry, this won't be some big hiatus like before. As I explained in the post, the channel's just going to go at a more leisurely rate from here on out. This is in part due to a new job that I got, and in part due to how I'd rather make videos. So I'm not sure when the next one will be. Doesn't help matters that life is pretty uncertain right now during this COVID insanity, but you'll see me around. Thanks for tuning in, and look forward to more theories in due time.
I'm afraid you misunderstand the situation, Miss Vance.